Hi my friends, welcome to this little video. I have to close a window, I think, just a second. It's cold out there, so it's snowing today, so it's real winter weather. So here we are on our journey of life on this planet, and yeah, the last video I made, just a sec. Okay, let's try the last time. So, yeah, the last video I made, I mentioned near-death experiences, NDEs, which are really popping up everywhere on the internet and that I have known about and also mentioned on these channels before. A very beautiful near-death experience, a very amazing one, is the one by Jeff Olson, a man who 20 years ago or more was driving along in his car with his young wife and two little boys on the back seat, and they were more or less all killed. And it's just a very informing but also very beautiful account of what happens when we die, and that we really don't die, because we can't die, because we are eternal beings, which can be really hard for the human mind to comprehend. How can we be eternal? That sounds so strange when we feel so mortal. But anyway, what is, I think, very helpful about these NDEs is, one thing is to see the transformation in the people who go through them, and often it's really profound. And well, the other thing is that what they experience, and a few people have negative NDEs where they feel like they go to hell, but really what they say is that there is no hell, but it is because of their mindset when they die, and that it is, as I was talking about in the last video, it's actually a choice they make to go into something really very dense. But the vast majority of people who experience death or near death, because they don't actually completely die, because then they wouldn't come back. The people who experience that they go home, really, to where we come from, and in that realm, as I also mentioned in the last video, there is only love. And what is what they explain when they talk about their near-death experience, they find it very hard to explain the love that they feel, and how deeply loved they are by God and by the All. So often they will cry, they get very moved, because it's just so intense and so unfathomable for the human mind, and also a real it's really quite astonishing for them, because in the way we think when we are in human form, most of our lives, unless we really awaken, we really feel very small and very unloved, and that is the complete opposite of the truth. So these people come back to tell us about where we will be going one day when we leave our body, and how beautiful it is, and how really the spiritual realm is trying to give us messages through these people lots of different messages about how we really should be living our lives and how we can move out of pain and into love and into peace and into joy while we are in this physical body, in this physical realm. So I'll leave a few links below. There's also a man called David Such, I think, who has not had a near-death experience himself, but who has written 12 or 1500. He's interviewed 12 or 1500 people who have had near-death experiences, and he's written a book called God Took My Clothes Off, or something like that. And he is really wonderful to listen to. So it's very encouraging, I think, when we feel we're struggling in life and we feel things get really heavy and really difficult. I think these near-death experiences, to go and watch them is really, really helpful. So yeah, the other thing I wanted to share was how I talked about before in the last video about the separation that we are experiencing in my family, and how well, either you can actually be connected with people in your family and see them but feel very far away from them, because you are really in two worlds, because some of you have awakened and some have not, and it can make it quite challenging. But there's also the so-called separation of having people in your family life who don't wish contact with you. And what I just got very clearly, which I really have mentioned many times, but it just is is so good to just keep repeating, that separation really is an illusion, because there's really no such thing as separation. It is really it's all really made up. And that was really originally what happened, according to what I understand, that God was really all love, and it was just all harmonious and peaceful, and in a way it became stagnant. So to actually create growth and expansion and more awareness, God created the so-called darkness, which is in its deepest sense is ignorance. And so that's what we humans are experiencing when we go through the veil, when we come into earth and we go into very dense energy. We go into a lot of problems in our lives. That's where we feel the so-called separation the most. So the ignorance is telling us, it's the false self, the ego, the lower self is telling us that we are separate and that we are so far away from each other, and that we have to do everything we can to reunite. But the thing is, we never separated. It's all something in the lower mind, in the lower self, that feels very, very real. And one of the my daughter, who I don't have any contact with, said many years ago, and she's a very highly evolved being, she said, we're all connected in our hearts, and that's so true. That's really, if you're experiencing what you feel is a lot of separation and maybe even loneliness, it's really good to remind yourself that there is really no such thing as separation, that we are, on a deep level, you can also say, in our true self, we are all totally connected. And so you can use a little simple image of the hand, that everything that exists is this hand, and that we are each these fingers. And when you are in your ego mind, in your unawakened self, when you have this very thick veil around you and you are really living in ignorance, you feel that we're so far between, you're sort of up here in your consciousness, and you feel that there's so far, I'm not connected with this person. we are totally disconnected and we're separate. But when you go into your deeper being, you realize, oh my goodness, we are actually one, and we've never been separated. We've just gone out into a different way of being. And this whole experience of Earth is really us doing the journey back into wholeness and oneness. So when we either use meditation, I don't use meditation really, I just use a lot of relaxation and really doing nothing, enjoying just being me. When you go into this very quiet state, you can feel it. You can feel that you are not separate from anyone, even your neighbor who hates you or whoever. In our true selves, we're all one. And one day, because I also talked about last time about a split, and if we're all one, there is no split. But for some people, some beings who are in human form, their journey is much longer, so they will die, they will leave this body unawakened, and they'll have a chance next time. So we feel like we're so far apart, and that they are in a different world, and in a way they are, because they're in a different reality, really. But when you zoom out completely, it's all one. So when we're with these people who seem so far away, it's good to just keep going into our hearts and really reminding ourselves, and use any image we can, that we are really all one family. We're all brothers and sisters, and we're all doing this in our own unique way. And that is actually very beautiful. So there's no wrong way to do this. And but for us who feel that we just wish to go back to I don't wish to die, but I wish to create more of heaven on earth, because I think that's really what we're here to do, create heaven on earth. And when heaven on earth, which is the new earth, is completely established, we will feel very connected to everyone. We will feel this deep love going both ways, not just us feeling the love for them, but them feeling the love for us. Because all this old stuff will have surfaced, and we will be transformed, all of us. We will have returned to our divine selves, only we won't be going back to the self we used to be. We will be a more advanced self. So because we've been through all this difficulty and all this so-called separation and suffering, we come out the other end more evolved. So it's good to look forward to heaven on earth, but as I keep saying, the way you experience, some say it's already here, and it really is already established, and that some people are living there, and that can be hard to understand. But really, when you go into this really deep level of peace and love within yourself, it feels very heavenly. Life feels very heavenly. So that's really all we have to do. So that's the next thing I wanted to talk about. Is we can ask ourselves, we can do many things to help ourselves. We can say, this moment is the most important moment of my life. Sitting here right now, speaking with you or to you, sharing what is in my heart. There is no more important thing or experience than this right now, because this is the now moment. So that's one way of putting it. Another way we can ask ourselves is, what is the most important thing I can do on this earth? What is the most important thing? I can do. And what will reap the greatest benefits for me, speaking in a more sort of a simple manner. And what that is to every single moment, practice it because it's difficult, every single moment, feel the love and the joy within you. Feel it, sense it, feel it sort of flowing through your body and giving you this enormous sense of well-being. Do that. And the human mind can feel this is very, very stupid and very childish and very irresponsible because there are so many important things we should be doing. But the thing is that when we get into this state more and more, we realize that this is actually the seed bank that we have to sow the new garden of life. So when we allow ourselves to really let go of all the fixing and all the doing, and in our conscious self keep coming back to this feeling of peace and joy and well-being and doing things that help to promote this, we will realize that we will be propelled forward towards what we have to do. And so whatever we're going to do, we can't work that out. How can I make a great difference in this world? How can I be a light shining in what feels like a very dark place? And that is really the starting point. Find the light within you, and it will shine the path for you. So your own light will really shine forward onto the path that that is right for you to walk on. And you will get to do things that of course you deeply love to do, and at the same time you'll be benefiting the all. So the mind cannot tell us what to do that is most beneficial for our well-being, for our being really healthy and happy and feeling good in this life, and also benefiting others. The mind can't tell us that, and that's very annoying because you want to work it out so that you can get moving, get going. But the process of letting go is essential for this, because when we let go, we go deeper. We let go of the more simple, primitive, more ego-based self, and we go into the deeper part of us, or our higher self, our wise self. And to reach that place, to reach that state, we have to let go. And so, as I've really talked about in many of my videos and with all the animals and everything, it's really to bring the message to you that really the starting point to really make change, where you feel you love your life and you feel that you can make a difference in this world, is to really start enjoying yourself. Do what you love to do. Let the well-being in you grow. Cultivate this joy, this inner child that's dancing and singing. Let her or him do it more and more. And you might need to do that for 5 years before you feel that you're being propelled forward. So this is an enormous lesson in patience, and the whole ego-based come on, do more, you can do better, you can do something great. That ego-based way of thinking comes from our simple self that's really looking for approval, because we have not reached that deep love within ourselves. So we're still starving for love from others, and appreciation, and people clapping at us. Oh my goodness, you did this big thing. And that whole way of living is the old world that we need to completely let go of. So being on this path of really, really cultivating well-being, feeling where is the joy in me. And as I've said many times, when you sink into yourself, there might be a lot of pain and sadness. And of course the ego loves that, because many people, they back off because it's simply too painful to go in, to go within. And I know people like that in my life. It's simply too painful, and they won't do it in this lifetime, because sinking into all that pain that's been held down for so long is unbearable. They can't do it, and they won't do it. And so if this is your experience, that now I've let go, I've taken a day off or arranged my life so there's much more peace and quiet, and I can be with myself and really start to feel good inside, and then you just start crying or just feeling really depressed and really out of whack. No, I promise you that this is only a layer. It is never ever your true self. Under there is a little child in you that is giggling and laughing and loving life. And she or he is waiting for you to be so courageous to go through the levels, the layers where she or he was in a lot of pain. So it's all waiting in there. It's never somewhere else. And as they say, and I've mentioned many times before, they say in the spiritual realm, we are the most courageous souls who've come to earth, because this is the most difficult and painful place to be, of all galaxies, all universes, everywhere. This is the worst. So when you're in this, feeling this old pain surfacing that so wants to be released, know that you are a warrior of the warriors when you're doing that. You are very, very courageous. And you are moving closer and closer to your absolute greatness. So becoming this crunched up, or what do you call it, little baby who's crying on the floor, and who's maybe is in that state for weeks, maybe months. Usually it's not, when you allow it, it actually lifts off you quite fast. But allowing this seems very weak and not powerful, but it's really the most powerful thing we can do. Allow the inner demons and the pain and the suffering that we have been holding on to surface and be released. And the beautiful, the most amazing thing is that all that pain and suffering that we've been holding on to, and we still are holding on to, it keeps manifesting in the world around us. So there's people who have to go through all this terrible stuff because they're reminding us of our own pain. So we're cleaning up the world by cleaning up ourselves. So it is the most powerful thing you can possibly do. So just going back, if you feel that you don't know what is your path, this is my recommendation. Your first step is to really enjoy being you. Allow yourself all this love and peace and joy, and cultivate it in you, and take the time it takes. You might need a week, you might need 5 years. Allow that. And as you do this, you will feel how your own light will actually shine the path ahead, and you will be propelled forward to do things that really, really make a difference. And the thing is, things that really, really make a difference, as I've mentioned many times, might be for you to go to the shops in 5 years' time and smile to a person, and that's it. That was the difference you came to make for that one person. And in our ego mind, that sounds like nothing. But that is your path, and there's nothing more beautiful than doing what you chose to do, the difference you came to make. And really, that is an outward act to smile to someone who maybe exactly needed it that day. But really, as I've also mentioned many times, the fact that you are doing this work and that you are becoming more and more free of the old person and more filled with light is changing the world by you just being here. So it's not, we really, the path forward I'm talking about, where we are to do things, is not so, it's not so important. So the doing, as we go forward, what we are creating, this heaven on earth, this new earth, the doing is not so important. Whether you're driving a bus, or you're doing your shopping, or you have animals you're looking after, doesn't matter. It is your state of consciousness that is rippling out and bringing change. So it's just so fascinating that we're to really do the opposite of what we've learned. So just one more thing I thought I might mention here. Yeah, it's really a little bit of going into details, but I just wanted to comment on this from my last video, where I was talking about relationships and how these relationships, where we feel the separation, they are making our ego tell us that we are not good enough. So I just want to go back to that to make it more precise. So I was talking about how we actually plan with our family. This is what I believe, and it might not be right for you, but we plan with our family that some people are to make life very difficult for us and bring a lot of pain into our lives, and that we agree to do this so that we can grow. And so what I just want to sort of point out is that the reason why we ask them to do this is because we're already in our spirit being, in our it's probably our mental body, but we are actually carrying pain with us when we go into this earth life. And the people we ask to bring pain into our lives are really there so that the old pain sitting in us, they're actually bringing forth, by doing whatever terrible thing they do to us, they're bringing up, it's reminding us of old pain that we had already. So it's like a magnet. So they're representing what they do, the painful thing they do is representing, it's like it has the same energy as that pain, the old pain that we already had. As a being, we have been holding on to, maybe for millennia. And so that's really their job, to do something to us that will not bring new pain, but remind us of the pain that we are already carrying on to. And so it's old pain. So when somebody does something to me, I can ask myself, where is that pain that they are causing in me? Where is it existing in me already? And I'm going to let it go. And when I let it go, they will stop doing it. It will disappear, because they've done their job. They've done what we asked them to do. So yeah, that was just, maybe sounds a little bit strange, a little bit too detailed, but I just wanted to get that angle onto it, that it's not new pain, it's old stuff. So, and lastly, this is another thing that came to me, which I think is really wonderful to take with us on our path, is that in a way this is all really an act, it's all really a play where we all have different roles, different parts, and when we can get to see that it's actually very humorous and it's actually very, in a way, it's actually very funny. The fact that we come to life and we have all these plans and we're hoping for all this, and all the stuff, most of the stuff that we hope for, we don't get. And we get so upset. And how life is really teasing us. So in a sense, it's very deep and very painful. But if we can get the other aspect of it, which is that it is actually very funny, it makes life so much more fun and helps us release these old painful things so much easier. So try to, and a way to bring in more fun is to really just laugh much more, and to see, yeah, it's good to see the funny part, the humour in the very deep, difficult things. But as a beginning, we can just start to just find things that make us joyful, and that is really going back to what I was talking about before, creating a life for ourselves where we really feel well-being and joy. So it's all sort of it's all linked together, allowing ourselves, and that's really one of the big steps, is because we thought when we came to Earth that this was because there's all this self-hatred and self-loathing even, we didn't realize that we actually came here to have a lot of fun, and that life is actually really meant to be very beautiful. And so we have to release that belief system that this is really not fun at all, because life is really funny too. So we need both ends. We need the deeply serious, but we also need to just laugh, just simply laugh at whatever it is. So that was the last thing I wanted to share in this video. And yeah, I'll finish this video now, and I'll leave some links below. You can go and see different things I think are really helpful, and I wish you all the best, and I wish for you that you get to feel more and more, and allow yourself to feel more and more inner joy, well-being, and just the love that comes from within. So I'll see you next time. Bye.